A 21-year love story is difficult to tell in one episode. So this is Real Love Stories Part 2. To all those with the sensitive ears, we cuss a little for emphasis, not harm.
So Drew,
Mm-hmm.
tell me about that mad proposal, that bad old proposal.
um, in order to tell you about the proposal, I have to also tell you we had been dating 9 or 10 years by that point in time, and I needed to be where I felt like I needed to be before getting married.
Okay, what does that mean?
Um, that means financially, that means education wise. I felt like I needed to bring things to the table, and she was like, no, it's just you. I just want you. And I was like, yeah, but I need to do these things for me. This is not necessarily for you. It's like I need to do these things for me.
Okay.
So I didn't finish school at Tuskegee. I finished school at Kent State.
Okay.
Um,
Where is that?
in Ohio.
Okay. Okay.
So it is northeast of Akron.
Okay.
And I guess for those of you who don't know where Akron is like a half hour south of Cleveland.
Okay. And then it's north of Cincinnati, right?
It's way north
Way
of Cincinnati.
north of Cincinnati.
So Cincinnati's at the very bottom. So you know how Ohio has like a little tip where the two rivers come together? That's where Cincinnati is.
Okay.
Okay.
I've been to Cincinnati several times. I got family there. I drove there. That's going to be a whole probably episode 2 of my relationship with Cincinnati.
Okay. Okay, back to the story.
Well, let me ask you this, because it kind of brings it in, I guess, full circle. You all started your dating career. You hear me say career? Yeah, your dating career. You started dating. You started off dating at Tuskegee.
Yes.
Okay. And so from that point, how long did y'all date at Tuskegee?
From our sophomore year from 2001 to 2005.
For graduation.
Till I graduated.
Okay. And so after you graduated, what happened? I think that's where I want to go.
I started teaching in a town, 2 towns over from Tuskegee.
Okay.
And he was still at Tuskegee. And then when he didn't finish, he decided to move back here because this is where he was from to do interning and like start working. And I was like, you're not leaving me in this 1-horse town, because it was literally a town that had 1 elementary school, 1 high school, and 1 middle school. And I was like, absolutely not, I'm not doing this. So I took the test to be a Georgia teacher, found a job, found an apartment, and I moved here. And then I said, well, if you want to come stay here, sometimes you can. I knew what I was doing. Let's just be fucking for real. I knew what I was doing.
Exactly.
And yeah, then it was like, sometimes he would come over, sometimes he would stay. Then we got a dog. So it was just like, well, I guess we all live here at this place now. And then 2008 happened, and the whole financial crisis, and nobody was building anything. So nobody needed an architect. So he decided to go back to school and finish school. But in order for him to finish school, he went back to Ohio, where he's originally from.
Okay. So were you getting masters? Or were you getting undergrad? What was happening?
Just finishing undergrad. Yeah.
Okay.
So he did that. And then I started working on my master's here. Okay. So we lived apart for almost 2 years. We stayed together because we had bought a house.
Oh, okay.
Right. We had bought a house, had cars, had a dog, everything.
Nice.
But we just weren't married. So, which I kind of cared and I didn't care. And then I really cared.
Really cared.
I really cared. So, which let's just be for real, I really cared because everybody else was in my ear about caring.
Okay.
I,
Isn't that interesting
yeah,
how
yeah.
people can change your point of view?
And it works on me every time because I could be perfectly fine doing whatever it is forever and always. But if you question me or say something, then that manifests itself and expresses itself as like, well, I got to do that thing or not do that thing.
Mm-hmm. What
So
do you know now though about that when people start saying things?
I think that's just like their thoughts, their thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody's always like 11 years, I couldn't do that. And I'm like, well, that was my person. Like I just did whatever I had to do.
Mm-hmm.
It,
Well,
it, it wasn't.
It wasn't as easy as that.
Yeah, it wasn't as easy as it sounds.
right.
But you
But
also had to think about like I had a bunch of people in my ear.
Yeah. Clearly family, you got friends, and there's a bunch of people who are like, he's never gonna do it, yada yada yada. I
Yeah.
mean, there's always the naysayers, right?
right. And I'm gonna jump in real quick. The reason why I even asked you what do you know now is because people always come from their own perspective. They're never gonna come from yours.
Yeah.
So when she says or who says or whomever said, I couldn't do that. I couldn't be in no relationship with 11
Yeah.
years. Okay, you couldn't, and that's fine. But
And
who's to say I can't? And
right.
and even the title marriage, that's one thing, but you were married. You got a whole house together, you got a dog, you started living together, you were committed to each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a marriage all day.
And to like hindsight, when you look back, yes, it might have been difficult. Yes, it was hard, but like I knew what I knew. You know what I'm saying? Like there was a test drive situation at that point. I knew like back to the eggs. He doesn't like eggs. I don't like eggs. How he folds his socks. How like
right.
The details were there.
Right.
So it made sense. Yes, it was a long time, but I mean, we grew up together.
Yes. And Drew, what were you saying before?
I was just saying, like, the naysayers will always say, like, you know, um, why are you with him? Why should you stay with him? He's never going to do it, yada yada yada. But then on the flip side, and I don't know if Sylvia knows about this, but like, my family was also saying, like, what are you doing?
Really?
Mm-hmm. They were like, what are you doing? They're like, don't be wasting that girl's time. And I was like, I'm not wasting her time. And they were like, don't be wasting that girl's time. And I was like, okay, And then so I was back in school. Like I said, like I felt like I needed certain things for myself, right? And finishing school was one of those things. And while I was finishing school, I came down here because my aunt was in town. And it was my aunt, my mom, and they were both like, no, for real, what are you doing? And I was like, I told y'all, like, I just need to finish school. I need to do like the stuff I need to do for me. And they were like, no, like, what are you doing? And it was like, it was like the same thing. So for her, it was like, I wouldn't. And then for me, it was like, yo, you need to hurry up and do the thing. So, but as we learned in the prior episode, like I am a thickhead, so therefore I have to do things my way.
When you want to.
And perhaps when I want to.
There is time and there is Andrew time.
I guess. Yeah. But I feel like when it's time, it's time. Like for me, it's like I know when the pocket is, I know when to hit the gas.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, fast forward to I guess the engagement. It was messy. I'm not even gonna lie to you. So me and her had not a fight, but a heated debate about being engaged. And basically she gave me like the shit or get off the pot conversation.
Okay.
Either you're gonna do this or you're not gonna do it. And I was like,
And this is after you graduated.
No. I still hadn't graduated yet. I'm still in school.
Oh, okay.
This is
But
after.
I'm nearing finishing.
Yes.
Okay. And
I'm
this is
nearing
after.
finishing.
This
Okay.
is after the homecoming that we went to, and the girl was like, "You look good now." This is after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But is that you're saying that was part of the conversation?
That was what led me to have that conversation.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You see how all the pieces start to fit together?
Yeah.
And a lot of this again comes from outside sources.
Yes.
Right. Like weighing in the assumptions that we make. That's one of the reasons why I told you about the 4 agreements. I don't know, Drew, have you read the 4 agreements?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is an awesome book because it really helps us realize what's happening in real time with shit. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah,
I'm making assumptions about what this person's saying because I'm not asking, oh, you look good now. What the hell does that mean? Like when people say stuff, where's that coming from? We don't want to say that, right? For whatever reason, we might be afraid. Most of the time, it's a fear of looking whatever. But we take what they're saying and we make it mean something else. And whatever that is, we're making it mean, it's coming from some insecurity within us anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So we're
Right.
using their words, but they're really our words. And we just, And so now here you go with this venom to him.
Which it was bad. Like all of it was it was bad on so many sides. And like he said, it was messy.
Yeah.
Right.
So we agreed that we would set a date to get married.
Okay.
And
without the proposal?
Lori.
I told you it was messy.
All right, here's another thing I need to like preface before I hate to keep cutting you off.
That's okay.
Let me tell you something. If it's us, we are not following the directions.
Okay.
We are not going in order of nothing. Like
Okay.
It's gonna go out of order regardless. It doesn't matter what it is, it's going out of order.
Okay. I'm gonna say there is no order. That's the
Okay.
whole point of me even having these conversations, period. Is to say we're gonna shake up some shit.
Yeah.
Because how you did it was how you did it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no rhyme or reason. Are you supposed to do? You know how many people have children before they get married?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you're supposed to get married first.
Right.
Well, I think maybe that was also, we also have this conversation about like us not having kids and the thought process that other people view it. So I think if we had kids in the house, everybody would have left us alone because like, you guys are already married, whatever.
Yeah.
But because it was just a house and a dog, no kids, and it's like, well, he could leave whenever he wants, like, and clearly I had moved to Ohio, so it already looked like,
it already looked a certain way. And what are you waiting around for? It was just so many. It was really hard to leave the house basically or answer the phone because I didn't know what anybody was going to say.
Well, how did you make it? I think that's the thing because we rarely talk about that. The strength that you had, because it took strength. You all are here today and you're married. So you went through some things, and I'm curious to know how both of you got through that time. How did you get through that time?
Together.
Yeah.
Realizing that it was like we could fight, we could argue, we could do whatever, but it always comes back to us. So wait, you still didn't finish.
Oh,
the messy story. No, which is fine.
I mean, so I think yes. How do we make it through it? We make it through it by trusting in each other, more so trusting in yourself and knowing what you want, and I guess trusting the other person that they are going to do right by you. Outside of that, I mean, you can't control any of this stuff, so it is going to be what it's going to be. So you just kind of have faith and let it go.
Right. So let's go back to the messy part. So here,
so
Sylvia gave you an ultimatum.
She basically gave me an ultimatum. And so that night, we seen our friends who used to live with us. And we, I don't know if we said we got engaged. So I don't know if it was like New Year's Eve or what, when we were with them, but we had the conversation, and it was like, so they were like, so are you guys engaged? Because they wanted to like be happy and celebrate, and then so like literally we had just finished this conversation. So I probably was in my feelings or feeling some type of way, and she was probably feeling some type of way. So we say it, and they were like, like ready for like, let's go get the fireworks or whatever.
So y'all
And
said y'all were engaged?
I don't know how we worded it.
Yeah, I don't know what we said. I think we just said like we're gonna get married or something.
Okay.
And well, however it was, because we, clearly we're still throwing off bad vibes, right? So however it was said, they were kind of confused, like, so are you engaged or
Yeah.
what's going on here? So that was the messy part. Then a few weeks later, it's Sylvia's birthday, and I decided, I can't say we, I decided, like,
Didn't know nothing.
I'm going to do this properly, right? It's her birthday. Our friends are there. My mom was there.
You're in town.
I'm in town. I'm going to propose, but the ring doesn't come in time. So the ring doesn't come.
The ring doesn't come, but we're driving to the place, and he's like, "Oh, I got you this for your birthday," and shows me a picture of it, and I almost wrecked the car on 285.
Because I was like, I just want you to know, like, I'm serious. Like, I know it doesn't seem like I'm serious because I'm broke. I'm a college student. I'm broke, but I am serious about this. Like I want to do this properly, but clearly the everything didn't align. So I showed her the picture, and so she was like, whenever you're ready, I will accept. And I was like, all right, cool.
This is so sweet. I love it because she loves you, like
yes.
she already knows, like, you are her dude, period.
Right.
Full stop. I'll marry you in the backyard.
In the backyard, on the sidewalk, wherever.
I love it.
So it's still, the ring was supposed to come like the day before her birthday. It didn't come. The ring doesn't come
until the next week.
Until like a few days later.
But he had to go back to Ohio.
So I'm back in school.
But did you propose that day or no?
No.
Oh shit!
Because it would have been awkward, and then people with their questions of like, "Where's the ring?"
Yeah, y'all not really engaged,
right?
He just said that you.
So look,
oh my god,
all of that happened. All that happened, and I really like put it in the back of my mind because I'm still teaching at that time. It's post the economic shutdown and all that, so like I'm getting furloughed at work. Like we're broke. Okay. So I'm thinking about work. So the ring came, but I didn't know it was the ring. And
she said
it was a package. So I just put the I always kept his mail on top of the refrigerator.
She texted her something and said, "Hey, you got a package." And I was like, "No, you got a package." And so she was like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "Open it." And she was like, "You want me to open your mail?" And I said, "Open it." So she opens the box. Now, mind you, there's a backstory here. I've given her gifts before, and apparently there are proper boxes for proper things.
Certain jewelry come in a certain size box. So he gave me a ring size box one time, and it had diamond earrings in it. And I was like,
and she basically not threw, but like treated them diamond earrings like I gave her a poop on a stick. Like,
because she was ready for a ring. Let me tell you, you gave her them diamond earrings after you gave her a ring, she'd be like,
right.
She treated them earrings like I gave her poop on a stick. Like, what is this? And I was like, I don't understand what the issue is. Like, they're diamond earrings. I think they're really nice. I saved for this. Like, like.
Do you get it now?
Oh, I get it now. He gets it now.
Drew, you get it now.
No, I still don't, because it's dumb. But
okay.
So anyway, I just had to give you that backstory. So I'd given her a box before, and it was the wrong size box with the wrong the right size box with the wrong thing.
Right.
Okay.
So she opens the package.
And it's a big box this time.
It is the wrong size box
So I'm like,
with the right package.
So here you go, open this box. You just don't know what's in it.
So she was like, I could tell. I wasn't on the phone with her because I had class. So I'm texting her, open the box, so she opens it and she was like, what is this? And I was like, did you open it? She was like, no, it's a jewelry thing, but it's like, I feel like it must have either been like bracelet size.
it was bracelet
Anyway.
size.
And you just didn't want to open it?
She didn't want to open it. She just knew it was more poop on a stick.
Yes.
So I was like, open it. I was like, did you open it? And she was like, no, I didn't open it. And so I was like, open it. So she finally opens it and she was like, oh my God, what is this? So I just text. I was like, Sylvia, will you marry me?
Oh my goodness.
That's how it happened.
So I was at home by myself. I was flat ironing my hair actually. And in the middle of flat ironing my hair, like burst into tears and everything. It was amazing.
So
but I was by myself when I got engaged.
Okay, well, that's really good. I mean, from my perspective, right?
Yes.
How was it for you?
Not what I always thought it would be, but I didn't give a fuck at that point. Like I was like,
how did you feel though?
Relieved.
Yes.
Relieved.
And you felt relieved because of what?
I could tell everybody to shut the fuck up at that point.
Yes.
But then, like, I think with like a short time after that, like reality set in of like, we're gonna have to have a wedding now.
Okay.
Because we have to shut everybody the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like the only way to do that is to have a wedding. But I did not realize until after we got into some mess with a venue that we needed to do it for ourselves and not for everybody else.
Yeah.
But it was like, remember, come back to we were broke.
Yeah. Well, one, we were broke. Two, you don't understand the racket of getting married until you're attempting to get married.
Right.
And so you like, because literally you could call a place and be like, hey, having a party for 20 people, how much, what kind of deal can you give me for, the 20 people? I want to pay ahead of time, whatever. Or you can even say like retirement party.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But the moment you say wedding,
it'll be, $15 a plate, whatever. If you say wedding, it's like, oh, listen, I mean, we might be able to do it for 50, but that's kind of pushing. The $50 a plate, we might be able to do it for you. It's like,
well, you gave me an idea just now.
Hold on.
It has turned into a few ideas over here.
Oh no, okay, so like, remember, I was broken in college, so I'm looking for a ring, and I'm like, clearly anything that I type in that says engagement ring, the prices are thousands of dollars.
Right.
And I was like, I don't have thousands of dollars.
Right.
So it was like, okay, I'm not searching using the right keywords. So it was like, Google, it's like, okay, I need to be searching for a solitaire.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I need to search for. Start searching for solitaire, like rings, whatever. Like, what? Look at this. This is the exact same ring over here versus over here. I saved thousands of dollars. So
look at that. And that's the whole point of this thing. One is people, right? It's perception, right? It's people getting really caught up in a thing and getting exploited for that. Like you get exploited for a wedding.
Right. Yeah. So we literally did. We went around town trying to say, okay, we want to have this many people. And we were like, okay, this is all we can afford. And people were like, no. I remember one person told us we could have breakfast. Yeah. And she was like, you can have an egg station. And we looked at each other and we were like, you obviously don't know us because we don't need eggs. It's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen.
An 8 a.m. wedding? No. Just so it could be cheaper. The people that were like get married on a Tuesday, get married on a Wednesday, get married on a Thursday. We were like, oh my God, this is just awful. So when we found a place, we were like, okay, fine. This is cool. This is very like eclectic. This is us. We put down the deposit, and I'm not gonna say it was 24 hours, 36 hours.
Something happened.
Something, and we were like, absolutely now we can't do this. We cannot get married here.
I don't know if we read the fine print. I don't know what happened.
Whatever it was, we went back and we were like, we can't do this. We want our money back. So whatever happened, we went back to the place and we were like, we know it's only been 36 hours or whatever, but we need our money back. And
they were like, no candy.
They were like, no.
You can,
and it was all the money we had.
Yeah, they were like, you can reschedule it up to 2 years from now.
Yeah,
you're like, what?
But you got a 3-day right of rescission.
We apparently did not, and I know that it was within the time because it. I mean, like we went home, saw
Those
whatever.
People need that money. They need that money.
They did, and that's why they're not in business as we speak. But anyway, that's not the point right now. So that was all the money. And so tears. Oh my God, what are we going to do? So then we put it off for another year.
Oh my God. I'm so sorry.
That was 2011.
Oh my God.
We didn't put it off.
So then it must have been like another 6 months or something.
Something like that.
But so then we were like, you know what? Fuck this. We're going to do what we want to do, how we want to do. And we were at the time, like pre-COVID, we were avid cruisers. And we were like, absolutely, let's just do this. So we started researching, looking into, and the price, we were like, God damn it. We should have gone this route the whole time.
Like the wedding, I think the wedding and the trip
was almost the price, less than the price of that deposit at that place.
Yeah. And then there was another place.
Wow.
There's another place in town that the lady, she kind of, everybody will tell you like, go to her, she can do a cheap wedding for you. And yeah, I think we told her we got $5,000. That's it. This got to be.
And we outfits, barely had that.
Decoration, food, cake. This is everything.
So however long it took for us to save the money again, to pay off the cruise, to get dressed, get clothes, all that.
Also, I think we got like I feel like this is like Obama time, so I feel like what's it called? The money.
Like a stimulus?
Yeah, I think we got stimulus checks or
something. Whatever we did and however we were able to do it, that's how we moved to the cruise instead.
That's so cool.
And I love once we did that, we were like, oh, whoever shows up is whoever shows up. Because I think by then we started realizing like people weren't going to show up. Even if we would have had it here, even if we would have went to Ohio, even if we would have went to Arizona, wherever we were going to go, people weren't going to come.
And tell me what that was about. How were they not going to come when they were the ones? When it's going to happen? How you going to do this?
Lori,
I wouldn't do that.
And Lori,
it doesn't make any sense. But I do know, like most of the wedding planning was conversation about the two people who weren't getting married.
Yeah.
So it was, well, what about whoever? Or what about whoever? Or, well, if we have it here, then we got a bunch of family who's got to come from wherever to be here. But if we go here, then only one side of the family is going there. And it was a bunch. So it was a lot of conversation about people who weren't in the actual wedding.
Okay.
So it was. Yeah. So I think at the end of the day, we realized like, let's just do what we want to do.
Yes.
If the people whole show up, time. They show up. If they don't show up, they don't show up.
They don't, right? I meant to ask you though, when you opened that box and you saw the ring, you were flat out on your hair and you started crying. What did you think about the text? Did the text come after you saw the ring? Or did he send the text? I feel
like I said I'm gonna open it now or something like. I think I said like, fine, I'll open it. I know I have the text somewhere, and then then I opened it and I said, "Oh my God." And then he texts, "Will you marry me?" And I was like, duh. So,
That's
so
so
yeah.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
And when you think about that time though, even though it was just you two, that was so unique unto yourselves.
It was very on brand for us. Very
Okay.
on brand.
You get what I'm saying? Like it sounds like it couldn't be really any different because these
No.
people, and it could be family, it could be friends or whomever. They didn't deserve that. They didn't deserve the uniqueness and the just spontaneity that took place in that moment. They did
Yeah.
they didn't need that. They didn't deserve that.
It's like no, they didn't. But also it I think it's a thing of like what we said before is like it was just about us.
Yes, what I'm saying this whole time, because this is a evolution of Drew and Sylvia.
Yeah.
Being able to hear Drew saying that he had to find himself. Like, I need to do this for me. I need to do that for me. Because in doing that for me meant what, Drew?
It meant a lot of different things. So like even for like going to Ohio to finish school, I could have gone back to Alabama. I could have found a place here in Georgia, but I felt like I needed to learn who I was.
Right.
And I needed to prove that I can stand on my own 2 feet. So part
Right.
of it was finishing school. The other part of it was like knowing that I'm strong enough to stand on my own 2 feet with or without. So it was like I need to, because like you're in school, like yeah, like you live alone, quasi live alone because you got a roommate, like.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like I needed to like have my own apartment. I needed
Right.
to, like okay, I need to be away from family.
Mm-hmm.
Like so I was close to family, like a half hour within drive of family, but like for the most part I was like independent in my own lane. I didn't know anybody there, nobody knew me,
Mm-hmm.
so it was just kind of like let me know who I am.
So once you graduated, right? What did that do for you then? Like, tell me what difference that made.
That's a long other story.
Okay.
It was very similar to the engagement.
You got everything. You think you got it planned,
Yeah,
and then the ring doesn't show up.
yeah.
You think you got it done,
Yeah.
and then the school's like, "No, you have to do one more thing."
Yeah.
So
What?
yes,
yeah, it was a
messy is the
long,
only word.
it was a long drawn out situation. And to the point where it's like everybody's like, hey, make sure you show back up and go and walk across the stage. I literally found out that I was done 2 weeks before graduation. Mind you, I hadn't been in school that semester or that year.
Yeah.
I wasn't even in school that year. And it's like I had been sending paperwork back and forth to the lady at school, and then they were like, "Yo, this is it. We got everything we need. You know, we see that you're in Atlanta. Do you plan on like coming back up here to walk for graduation, or should we just put it in the mail?" And it was like, well, and by the time I seen the email, they had already replied back, "Oh, we hadn't heard anything from you. We're just gonna put it in the mail." And it was like, oh, so I guess I finished. So yeah, it was very much like the ring. Like it just came in the mail. It was done.
Mm-hmm. Well, how much time after you thought you were finished that you were finished?
Like 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like 3 years.
It took 3 years for them. Are you
Lori,
serious?
it was messy as fuck. Like we moved to Abu Dhabi in all of this and came back home in all of this.
It was like 3 years.
It was super messy.
Don't worry about it. It's a long story.
Yeah, Lori,
that's okay.
That's a whole other episode.
Okay, but imagine you went to prove something to yourself. You went to accomplish a thing. Do you feel like you accomplished it though, even though you didn't get the degree at that time? Did you feel like you accomplished what you set out to accomplish?
Yes.
I would hope so because of what we went through.
But also, the other thing that made me really push to finish, I was paying student loans and I ain't had nothing to show for it. Like Sally Mae still wanted her money, and I was like, but I don't have nothing. Sally Mae, she was like, I don't care, give me that money. So
it was a messy situation, but it was another situation of like it came back to like we got to do this together.
Okay. And so the wedding didn't happen. Well, it happened right before Abu Dhabi, right?
The wedding
happened 20 days before.
So
the second wedding happened 20 days before.
Finished school 6 months before we got married.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in that time, we found out we were moving to Abu Dhabi.
Okay.
So in that same exact 6 months, it was like I quit my job here. We got the job in Abu Dhabi. We told our parents.
My mom knew.
Your mom knew because your mom is the one that sent the email to start the whole process. My mom knew because obviously I would have just told my mom, but no one, your dad didn't know.
I don't think anybody knew outside of our moms.
Our friends didn't know. No one knew.
Okay. You said also the second wedding. What?
Right. Remember, we have 2 anniversaries.
Okay.
When you move out the country, you need paperwork, right?
Okay.
So in order to get that paperwork attested, stamped, approved, all that stuff.
The embassy. Well, it has to go through a bunch of stuff at the county
level, the state level, and then the national,
then it
like
goes
the federal
to
level.
DC. And then it has to go to the embassy for whatever country you're going to.
Right. What, this the wedding marriage license or something?
Everything.
All of your paperwork, but including your marriage license.
Your marriage license, your high school diploma, your college degree.
Yeah. Wow. Everything. Your passports, everything. So we knew we were going to see friends that lived in DC. And so we knew if we got married before, got the paperwork before, we could do all the state level, all the county level. We could do everything that we needed to do on our end, and we could just hand it to them and say, hey, we're moving out of the country. Can you help us with this? So the week before we got on the cruise to get married, we got married at the courthouse. Just the 2 of us. No, we have no pictures of it. We have no video of it. It's the only regret that we have, really.
That is the only regret. Like, because we just went up there to just make sure that, hey, what all do we need?
Yeah.
Turn in all the stuff. Because we thought we were going to have to wait. And we turned in all the stuff. And they were like, yo, we got time. Like, you got 20 minutes? You know, we can call the judge.
And we legit.
We were like,
okay.
Sure. Like, right? Yeah, okay, we can do that. Literally. Judge came in. It was like, so, you know, whatever. But I feel like I know for sure I had a white tee and jeans on. I think you
had white tee and jeans on.
Yeah.
Just because we were going to do our engagement pictures.
Was that the same day?
That's the same day.
Did you do them?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like that wasn't the same day, but
well, you know what? You got pictures on your wedding day.
Technically, we did.
If that is the same day, I don't know if it is or isn't.
Why else would we have that outfit on?
Because we just woke up and went to the courthouse.
Oh, that's true.
Like
it is us.
Grab whatever and put it on, and just like, and at that period of time, like everybody was big in the white tees. Like,
yeah,
okay.
But our engagement pictures do have on white tees. We do have
white tees and jeans on.
We were very Atlanta.
I love it.
Yeah, there are no pictures or video at the courthouse, but so we got that done. And we were like, damn, we should have just done this before. And then I think after the cruise, we were like, we should have just stuck with the courthouse.
No,
like, it was fun.
I thought it was a good time, but this is for other reasons. Like I thought it was a good time. Being a kid who moved around a lot, and also like I don't ever remember my parents being together. So for me, I've always like, yes, both of my parents are from the same block, but seeing both of them in the same room together is a rarity.
Oh, wow. Like, and they were there.
So for me, it was like, we could do this however many more times, like whatever excuse I can get to have my whole family in the same place, same time, I'll use it. But
That's beautiful.
so for me, it was like, yay. And for Sylvia, like
I had the complete opposite.
Yeah, you were sharing that with me.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting how it's the two of you with different experiences.
I think from pretty much that moment on, I have a bunch of memories from that moment on of like understanding perspectives, understanding of like you could be in the same room with somebody and have a completely different perspective of the situation. And I feel like up until then, it hadn't really been that. And from then on, it was kind of diverging. Like the wedding was very different for him than it was for me. Abu Dhabi was very different from him than it was for me. Coming back home was very different for him than it was for me. So it's like, yeah, from that moment, even though we became a married couple, we almost went down two different paths.
Right.
This whole time.
Right.
Since then, like the last 10 years has been very like, we're in the same room, but you stand on one side and I'm standing on the other looking at this completely different and or experiencing it or feeling it or whatever.
Yeah. Is it still two different stories or you all are coming to have one story?
Me personally, I think we started merging back in. But that's just me. I don't know if Sylvia views it the same way.
I think yeah, a little.
2018, 2019 on, I think we started merging back together.
I would say COVID. Yeah. Not 2018.
Okay, so 2019.
2019, 2020, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what was that about? How did y'all start merging back in?
COVID said go sit in the house together for 24 hours straight.
So, but I thought it was, to me, I felt like it was before COVID.
So you say when I stopped teaching?
I think so, like, yeah, the combination of like that few months of you stopping teaching, us losing Rain.
Yeah. Losing the dog kind of definitely pushed us back together.
That period of time and after that.
Yeah.
So that's why I say I feel like 2018, 2019. But because it was, yeah, I think up until then it was still kind of just like you're riding in the car together, but we both have headphones on. You know what I'm saying? So like she might be listening to music, I might be listening to a book on tape, or so it was just like we're together, but we're not having the same experience.
Right. Yeah. And so when did you notice that you started to have the same experience though? Was it right after the dog passed or a little bit before that? Like Sylvia okay.
Go for it.
I would say yeah. I would say the dog passing.
Okay.
Well, no. I would say after that. Because when the dog passed, I had also stopped teaching 6 weeks before then. So I was kind of on this like downward spiral situation. So then I would say the dog died in February, March
of 18 or 19?
Of 19.
Okay.
We both took it really hard, but he was able to like go back to work and like distract himself and stuff. And I was not. I was at home by myself. And we were living in Huntsville, but we still had this house. And I remember one day I was like, I have to leave. And I moved back here and I left him in Huntsville. And then that from that was March, I started seeing you.
Okay. I thought you saw me before you moved to Huntsville.
I did see you before we moved to Huntsville. And then when we moved to Huntsville, then I couldn't see you. And so then something happened. And so when I moved back here, I was like, that's it. I have to go back to therapy. So I started seeing you again and I got better. And then how long did I stay here? Till May? I stayed here for a while.
I don't know.
I saw
Because like
you, but I didn't.
it was fuzzy on when you were here.
Yeah.
Only because there was a lot going on.
Mhm.
So you quit teaching, lost rain, you had to go to Trinidad, you had to go to
That's before.
Phoenix.
Yep.
So you were gone a while,
Mhm.
but I
Some
don't
of those things are
remember.
in a different order than you think, though.
But that's what I'm saying. Like it's fuzzy to me.
Mhm.
It's fuzzy to me as to what happened when, but I know you were gone dealing with stuff. So it was kind of like, yeah. I don't really remember like what order, but I just know you were gone.
Yeah. So it was kind of like when he moved to Ohio for school. It was like
Mm-hmm.
he needed to figure himself out. I had to
Mm-hmm.
figure myself out because it was like I don't have a job.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I'm going to do. And I also don't have my quote unquote kid to take care of.
Right. Right.
So it's just like it's just us.
Yeah. It's
And
kind
then
of
it
like
was like it's just me.
like a fish out of water in a sense.
Yeah. So it was
And
like hard. It was. It was very difficult, very
yeah,
rough.
I can
So
imagine. And that's and I think I was talking to you in another space about how sometimes even if you don't get therapy, couples getting therapy, you're actually having kind of like the therapy in yourselves because you're growing. There are
mhm.
things that are happening. You're deciding to stay together. You're moving apart. You know what I mean, but not leaving each other. Because I think maybe that time that you spent alone when you said I got to go back to Atlanta, was that something that helped the marriage and yourself overall?
It helped me. So then I think it helped us in
Yes.
a way, right?
Yes.
Kind of.
Because
We've only spent like only so much time apart for real.
yeah, but for me it was we were different coming back.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, there was a lot, but I think coming back it was kind of like you are on like an island and I'm on another island or icebergs. We're on two different icebergs.
Okay.
Like at one point in time they were together and then the ice starts breaking and it's like we're still going down whatever this water is, but like I'm on my ledge and you're on your ledge and just kind of just going and it's like she's getting further away. Um but you don't really know what to do about it. You know what I'm saying? You just kind of just like I could tell things were bothering her, but I couldn't tell what. And I couldn't tell if it was something I was doing or just the situation. So you just kind of just look and watch and just I hope it gets better.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, so I think her getting therapy and then I think like around that same time, like I said, like she had to go help other people.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that helped her or not.
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
Both of those situations were um they were too traumatic.
Okay, so did you
And they
do
were
therapy
traumatic for
after?
I did not have therapy after going to Phoenix. And that's probably when I needed the most therapy. But I don't know what was happening that I didn't get therapy. And
Because
then right after that is when COVID happens. So
because
then I
you
didn't.
you had therapy in Huntsville.
Yes.
So you didn't have therapy after Phoenix in Huntsville?
I think there was like a gap in time.
Okay.
I
But
don't know
like
what was happening,
that
but that was when I needed the most therapy.
those 2 years were they're fuzzy.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't that long ago, but it was fuzzy. It was a ton of stuff going on.
It feels like a lifetime ago.
It does feel like a lifetime ago, but COVID feels like a lifetime in itself.
Isn't
Yeah.
that wild?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
and so and what's interesting, the different things that happen as you might not recognize it brought you back together. But these different situations brought you back together. Because where are you today? Like, what would you say your relationship is like today?
I think we're good. I mean, we have issues like anybody else, right? But I think for it's funny because people always like, you guys communicate so well together.
And we look at each other and go,
Like,
ooh,
it's
ooh.
like we don't really like,
We do not speak the same
but we
language.
try.
We try really, really,
We
really.
try because it's like I can tell this is about to go off the rails. Like, and then there's other times it's like, I know you didn't hear what I just said.
Right.
You know, it's like I know exactly what I meant, and I could tell by your face that you didn't get what I just said.
And somehow you all are still together. You see what I'm saying? And I think some of the things that you went through, other couples might have gone a different direction. They could have probably left each other, but somehow you stayed together. And I'm just curious to know, Drew, how, even though you felt like y'all were on two different icebergs, how did you stay in this marriage? How did you stay?
I always keep my eye on her. And so regardless of even like in public, like let's say we went to a concert or a mall or whatever, right? I walk much faster than her. And so we do this thing where it's like, just make sure we can see each other. So I'll be ahead of her and I'll stop and I'll look back and I'll be like, okay, I still see it. And then I'll keep going. And then so like I get a little further, I stop, I look back, I see her. Okay, she good. Okay, I'm keep going. So I think it's just that, like I always keep my eye on her. I might be a half a block away from her, but I still see her. I still know where she is. I still kind of can gauge how she's doing. I've never just taken my eyes off her and was like, she got to deal with that. Because it's like, yeah, she does have to deal with it, but I also have to deal with her. So in a sense, if I can help, then let's work it out, and vice versa. Like, so for Huntsville, for me, it was like, yeah, it got touchy at the end. It's like it was just like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Like, I don't like it. Like Huntsville was a nice place, got expensive, but it was also just like in a situation I had never been in before.
Right.
Where it was like, I think I'm being judged on my own merit. You know what I'm saying? So, but
it was, he started experiencing things that I had experienced. And so it was like, and he had never ever experienced. So I was able to be like, oh, this and this and this are coming.
Right.
This and this and this is what's really happening. And so I think that kind of helped and I was like, if you don't want to do it, we ain't got to do it.
Right.
We'll just figure it out. Now, did I see us figuring it out the way we figured it out?
Man, come on, man. You gotta roll them dice. So like I said, powerful. Like, you getting your situation, and you go to your counsel and was like, yo, am I tripping? No, you're not tripping. And then so they give you their advice. So I was talking to my mom about the situation. And so she was like, what are you doing there? And I was like, what you mean? She was like, you don't want to be in this situation anyway. Go do the thing that you want to go do. And I was like, oh, yeah, I don't want to do this. Like, I'm stressed out about something I don't want to do in the first place. Like, it just makes me really, really good money. And so it was like, oh, okay. I forgot. I do have the option of, abandoning ship, essentially. So I was like, let's just take a dive. Let's get out of here. And
That's huge. And you did that.
I did that,
Oh
but
my God.
With a little help from his friends.
from a lot of friends. But it coincided with COVID.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's
Okay.
what made it sketchy. That's what made it scary. Like
Mhm.
taking the leap in itself, it was just like,
Yeah.
also, yeah, because like taking a leap in that moment in time was like COVID's happening. Sylvia's not working. So it was like, this is a leap. Like this is a big leap. Like, so if this
Is
don't
this is
pan
like
out,
a right? Is this so? Share the leap. Is it the leap of leaving a job and going to another job,
yeah.
or
Well,
It was twofold.
yeah. So leaving a job and going to another job, also getting out of one sector and into another sector. So like at that time, I was in construction management.
Mhm.
So getting back into architecture, the design side,
Mhm.
there are very few people who cross back over.
Okay.
So typically, like either you stay in your path, and if you do decide to cross over, you stay. Like that's it. Like there is no
Right.
coming back across the bridge. So I
Okay.
came back across the bridge, and on top of that, we didn't want to be in Huntsville anymore. We wanted to come
Mhm.
back to Atlanta. So it was like
Mhm.
quitting a job, starting trying to find a job in a new field,
A new old field.
a new old field.
Well, the field that you desired the whole
Yeah,
time.
Yes.
the field that I desired, and then also switching cities.
I get it.
So all of that going on, COVID's happening,
And remember at the beginning of COVID, everybody was getting laid off.
right?
And
Mhm.
he's
Mhm.
looking for a job.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And it's wild because it took a lot of courage, right? You had to let go of that fear
Mm-hmm.
and you had to believe in a thing and
Yeah.
yeah.
push.
Yeah.
And you did it. So you got a job in COVID time.
Sure, Lord.
Yes.
Sure.
Lori, what did I tell you earlier? If it's a certain set of directions or a certain way that you're supposed to do it, we're not doing that.
Sure,
Right.
Lori.
We didn't do
Sure.
that.
Uh
You remember how I said COVID was really hard for a lot of people, but at our house, it was actually like a blessing in a way.
Mm-hmm.
We're just going to say that quitting a job, leaving a city, changing sectors exponentially worked out for us.
Look at that. I would love to know what that means, but I
We will
guess
tell you not on this recording.
okay.
We are sorry, listeners, but we are not going to divulge this information.
Sure, Lori,
And
sure.
let me tell you, that's cool though, because you're still here. You know,
Yes.
like that's the thing, and you're closer than you were before.
Yeah, but like I think that's what Sylvia was saying. Like COVID helped. You know how like COVID broke a lot of people up.
Yeah.
COVID helped us because it was like we were in the same space, same time, constantly, and it was like, ah, I liked you for a reason. You know, it's like
I love that. That's what I'm talking about. Oh my goodness.
you know,
Yeah.
because it was like before, it was like, okay, you know, you get distracted by work and whatever else is going on, and then you got the dog, and then it's like, you know, dog's like, play with me, or the dog is sick or whatever, right? So you got to tend to these things. You're juggling, right? COVID is like everybody go sit in the house, and sitting in the house is like for us, we
enjoy that on such a different level than a lot of people around us.
right. So it was like sitting in the house.
Yeah.
You know, like the house that
Oh
we picked,
man.
you know, just us where we were, we could go for a walk.
Oh
So
wow.
everything was just worked out. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, and you know, it takes a little edge off of the stress of things. It's just because it's like I can just go out in the back or go out for a walk at lunch or you know, whatever,
Mhm.
if it gets too stressful for work wise.
And we had started painting by then, so
Yeah.
we were like, all right, just turn the music on and paint
Yeah.
for an hour.
But all of that could have gone a different direction.
Yeah.
Oh, hell
Because
yeah.
you've
Yeah.
been
Yes.
I've heard stories.
You
I've
get what
heard
I'm saying?
stories.
It's
Yeah.
the choosing. You chose each
Yeah.
other in spite of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, we also, because I think like because we grew up together, it also was different from some people. Like some people, they pick each other based off of resumes. It's like
Mhm.
this person is
Yep.
good for me career wise, or makes me
Right.
look good.
Right.
Or I can take them to the cocktail party or the Christmas party, and they can talk to whoever, my boss's wife, and
Right.
it's like
Right.
it's manipulation. But we didn't have any of that. Like we legit grew up with each other. We legit like the same kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Um,
And two, the whole thing, all the shit that people gave us a hard time about in the beginning of why aren't y'all married and y'all been together all this time and whatever. Remember, I had test drove. He had test drove. We knew exactly what we like, what we didn't like already. A
Right.
lot of people, this was their first time being like, oh, you're like this, or you like that, or people didn't
Right.
even know what TV shows other people watched or what kind of music
Wow.
other people listened to. It was like, hey, go turn the iPod on.
mhm.
Because you already have a shared whatever.
But I also remember like people hearing their person's work, like their work self, and like I try to be me regardless.
Yeah.
um I don't want to be the person who's like, at work I'm a different person and at home I'm a different person, where you see that person that you work with, it's like, well, I should go punch him. Like,
Hilarious.
what I'm saying? Like there's some people who's like, well, if I see Steve in the streets,
Right.
it's like it's not like that for me. So it's like
There were a lot of people.
but there were people who I witnessed and heard about, and it on social media, like there was this big thing about like, does your person use these words? It's like and then it's like, is your person a loud talker, or is your person, have you heard your person talk to like somebody who works under them, and they're talking like down to
Down
them?
to them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So people, I think it got exposed to, because it's just like, you are Lori right now, right?
Mhm.
And so like I assume you're the same Lori when you're doing therapy.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
but
Yes.
but you might not be the same therapist Lori as you are in your relationship Lori. You know what I'm saying? So like there's this juxtapose, like, so
Mhm.
are you the same person through and through?
Right.
Or which one is really you? Like, are you the
Right.
person who cusses out people for no reason because
Right.
they didn't send
Right.
the right email?
Right.
Or are you the person who was like, oh, let's go for a walk? It's like, which one is the real you?
Right.
Right. And
And
y'all
so,
found that out, is what you're saying?
oh no,
No,
no, no,
no.
we already knew.
We already
Oh,
knew.
Yeah.
okay.
We're saying
I
other
think
people
I think
didn't
it
know.
was confirmation.
Oh,
Yes,
I
yeah.
think
it was
was
confirmation.
I
Right.
think because I'm
Right.
sure, if I was talking to some of the people who whether they were subs or people who worked under me, and I was talking to them any old kind of way, like I think Sylvia would be like, yo, what's that about? Like,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
But he's him.
right. And but I think I'm glad you found that out about other people. The
Yeah.
fact that all that glitters is not gold.
mhm,
And again,
Yes.
all these naysayers,
mhm,
this shit ain't
Mhm.
together,
true.
Yeah.
Mhm,
and the thing that because you walk this thing all the way out.
mhm.
And it's
Mhm.
really beautiful, again, as you look at it how it is now. And it's only going to get sweeter.
Yeah.
I sure hope so.
I do too.
Yeah.
It is funny, like we see people or hear from people after a long time and they're like, dang, y'all still together. What else we supposed to be doing?
It's just like,
I don't know who is saying these different things to you, but I need to have a conversation
People
with them.
say we've had that conversation about like people
Damn.
say really wild shit
Oh
to
my
us
God.
individually or
Oh my
together, or people say really wild shit to me. And Drew's like, they would never
yeah,
fucking say
they
that to me.
like
It's
some of the
like,
stuff that
no,
people said to Sylvia. I was like, I
Yeah.
dare you to.
yeah,
But
we're gonna
for
have to
me,
mute. We're gonna have to mute some people. I'm serious
yeah,
yeah,
because you don't get to say some of these things. Like, yeah, that's gonna be a
I
whole
mean,
other episode
wild
about
shit,
without.
wild
Yeah,
shit. Yeah.
yeah.
Like
It has to stop.
especially Okay, finally we got engaged. Okay, finally we got married. Then it started the whole bullshit about when y'all gonna have kids. Why don't y'all have kids? You should still have kids. You should adopt. You could just take whoever. You could just take your nephew. You could just
Well, again, this is
wild
somebody else's right.
shit.
This is somebody else's view, and they're
Yes.
trying to superimpose it onto you all as though
Mhm.
this needs to be your worldview. This needs to be your
Yeah.
story. No,
Mhm.
that's your story. Go and handle that. If you want a
Mhm.
child, you want to adopt, you want to go to Cambodia, you want to go like
Just go to
wherever,
Cambodia.
go get your child if that's what you want.
Yeah.
That's not my story. You know,
True.
and sometimes we
Exactly.
have
True.
to put it down, like to let people know
hmm
I'm not coming from that perspective.
Right.
I don't
And
know
we
that you ever
have.
thought I
We
okay.
have.
So-
Like, I
so-
don't know how much clearer it could be.
But I mean, yes, I mean, but that's the thing. I think like the people who know us, they don't ever say anything like that. Like my siblings,
Yeah, they would never.
they would never.
Mhm.
Like
My
because
siblings would never.
because they know
Mhm.
where we stand. He was like, look,
Mhm.
I ain't say anything when you was doing the thing that you was doing. You
No.
know, so
Right.
so my
Yeah.
siblings, they understand where we are. And
Our
then
parents, however, are a whole nother scenario.
but then there's sometimes like people would say something and it's like, I think you mean that in a compliment towards me, but there's a backhanded on the flip side of that like I feel some type of way about,
Mhm.
Mhm.
you know. But no, it is interesting the things that people will say. They will say it more so to Sylvia. For me, everybody, the general statement I get is, but you would be such a good dad. And I was like, okay.
Of course. And you're a dad to many things. That's the other thing.
Mhm.
How you
So-
show up as a dad doesn't have to manifest itself in you actually having given birth to a child.
Mhm.
You can give
Right.
birth to a whole idea. You can father that experience. You're fathering your experience at work. You're
Mhm.
fathering this experience in this relationship. People, they have no clue of what certain words mean. They
Mhm.
just say
No.
shit and they don't
Mhm.
even get it, you know?
Mhm.
So I just and I would love to have another conversation with you, Sylvia, about how we say what you say what you say to these people to level their asses so they won't ever speak to you in any kind of way again as it relates to this shit.
Yeah.
Like, no, you don't get to say that to me.
Mhm.
And you can lovingly shut them down.
Yeah.
Shut their asses all the way down.
It-
I'm like looking at you like I'm gonna keep that shit to myself.
It's one
like,
of those of like, you thought that you conquered the demons by
Mhm.
doing the thing that they were complaining about the first time, and you weren't paying attention that like they still had other shit to say.
Mhm.
Because really, honestly, you're wasting this time. Why are you still waiting on him? Why are you whatever? Okay, finally, we're engaged. Okay, cool. Relief.
And then immediately is the next thing.
It's like, well,
When
how
you
big
go-
is the
Yeah.
wedding gonna be? And
right,
whatever.
because it's never gonna be enough. That's what I'm trying to say.
Never.
It's never gonna be enough. You can't please people.
No.
Like that's the thing. You have to please yourself. Like that's why I'm glad Drew had to do what he had to do it. And I love how he said, I'm doing it for me, because if you don't do it for me, you'll be chasing that rabbit forever,
Mhm.
because it'll never be good enough for that person
Mhm.
Yeah.
ever.
Mhm.
And so, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this has been great.
Yes. Well, thank you for listening to our wild but wonderful story.
It's wonderful. It's so wonderful, and it's going to be even more wonderful.
I hope
Just
so. I hope
yeah,
so.
absolutely.
Well, thank you, Drew, for talking with us.
No problem.
That's been cool, Drew. I feel like Drew, you've been here all along.
Well, I have been.
He
You
I
just
has
don't see
know,
it.
been.
right? That's what I'm saying. You've been here all along.
He's on the other end of that desk, but yes. All right.
Yeah, you just didn't see it.
Thanks for listening.
That's it for this week's show. I'm Lori Scott.
And I'm Sylvia Johnson, and you've been listening to What's Been Better.
A big thank you to Lagan Music Inc. for providing our music. This show is edited and produced by us with a little help from our family and friends. We love you all.
We want to hear what's been better for you. To be a guest on the show, send us an email to questions@whatsbeenbetter.com. Or you can find us on Instagram and TikTok at What's Been Better Podcast.
Thanks for listening.